Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second hour of the Exceptional Conservative Show, Open Heart Closed Case Night, Friday night out of Washington, D.C. You know that we focus on public safety, unsolved homicides, missing persons, teen suicides, child abuse cases. Tonight, we've been focusing on the absence of worship, the absence of the church in the lives of our children, and its negative impact on our communities and neighborhoods and families. And so tonight, we have a great guest with us, as always, on this particular Friday night. None other than Jason Miller, writer extraordinaire with Highlands Community News out in California, IA, spelled with a capital K. Good evening, sir. It's a great honor and privilege to have you on the air with us tonight.
Good evening, Ken, from Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, where tonight is the 2020 Annual Prophecy Conference, where tonight we have been experiencing multiple pastors, including Calvary Chapel's very own Pastor Jack Hibbs, presenting the book of Revelation over the next 2 days. So imagine doing Bible study in Revelation 6 months in 24 hours.
Wow. Listen, it is a great joy to have you here. Why is Pastor Hibbs so important to the American cause of opening churches?
I think it is because people need hope right now. I happened to interview Assistant Pastor Josh Blevins today for an upcoming article in the Highland Community News, and from a lot of people who he has spoken to and the other pastoral staff here at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, people need hope right now. It's a very trying time because of the entire COVID situation, people being unemployed, and I heard this number today. The number of suicides has been the worst it has ever been, and it has been in the 70% level here in the state of California. In the month of June, it skyrocketed to 70% here in the state of California, according to numbers taken by the church here. And so people need some hope right now, and with all these churches being closed,
Okay, having a quick pause there.
With their fellow believers.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is very important right now, and Pastor Hibbs finished the message, and he told people, and he went through Revelations 8 and 9, and he says, I don't mean to scare you, but I believe, and this is his opinion, he believes we're living through these pre-tribulation times right now, with everything going on in the world right now, especially here in California, with the religious persecution that is going on.
You say religious persecution. The government says that they're just trying to be safe. Which one is it, sir?
But from this reporter's opinion, I believe it's religious persecution. There has not been any statistical proof that I have seen as a journalist that going to a church service is going to cause you to get the coronavirus. So much so, this church has been open since March 31st. So if Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills has been that closed in March, has now been open since the end of July, end of May, beginning of June, and they had to close their doors, and no one has gone sick. At least that hasn't been reported here. And this church, this past weekend alone, had 12,000 people attend all 3 of their services.
Wow.
On Sunday morning alone. And people, I am told, are coming out as far as New Mexico, Arizona, Las Vegas, Washington State, and Oregon to see these services. They want to go to church because they can't go to church back in their home state because their local government has the churches shut down.
Well, California has pretty much a wall built around churches today. Am I correct?
Well, yes. Pastor Hibbs has talked about this, that California Christianity was founded here in California. And so we have a unique history here of Christianity in this state. And what the governor is trying to do in eliminating that is hurting the citizens here in California.
We were talking earlier with David Torres, who's running for Congress out of Philadelphia, Congressional District 2, Pennsylvania, and he mentioned the fact that it is highly unlikely that our children are going to be successful out of the classroom in front of the computer screen for 8 consecutive hours. What say you, sir?
Well, I confirmed that fact yesterday during a San Bernardino Unified School Board meeting. San Bernardino Unified is the 9th largest school district in the entire country, Ken, and we had multiple students speak during the public comment during the school board meeting that was done virtually, mind you. Everything's being done virtually now in California these days as far as government meetings are concerned. And a lot of students are complaining about the quality of the education, saying, we want to go back to school. We want in-person education again, or we want the teacher back in the classroom. It's not the same. And one student who is a senior says, I don't believe I'm going to be able to pass this year. I believe I'm going to have a failing grade.
Wow. Are you believing or have any proof that online education isn't working as creatively as they would want it to in the public school system?
Well, funny that you should ask that, because Pastor Jack Hibbs broke about 4 hours ago that Southern California's school districts are now under attack of a computer hack, and currently students in the San Diego, Dana Point, and large parts of Orange County are being affected. Students in Orange County who were conducting their school via Zoom today were taken over and shown pornographic images from Playboy magazine, and then in another moment were shown people getting their heads chopped off.
Wow.
And in San Diego, over in the Escondido Unified School District, a girl no older than 7 years old was using the district's issued app on the iPad, and the iPad was taken over, and this little girl was seeing pornographic pictures. So for the governor of California saying, "Oh, we're going to give you the highest quality learning, the same learning you're going to get in the public school."
Yeah.
Well, guess what, Governor? The school season isn't 2 weeks old, and guess what? We're showing our kids porn on our computer screens. Wow. What? And this coming from this reporter, who's an education reporter, what the H-double hockey sticks is going on around here?
It's amazing. I'm amazed that they took this long. I'm surprised the Chinese haven't broken in and taken the nuclear codes this particular juncture.
I know. And Pastor Hibbs, he was concerned too, because a lot of kids still have to do this distance learning thing here in California. So Pastor Hibbs has blown a whistle on a lot of stuff today. And folks, if you want to check out Pastor Hibbs' videos, go to his Facebook page.
Pastor Hibbs' videos.
And great information out there for you. Now, I don't know how we are on time, Ken, but there is other breaking news here in California tonight. Judge today went after Pastor Rob McCoy and made a ruling and basically made a judgment for all prior services that he held, that he had to pay $3,000 for the prior services, and any future services that he holds, and this, mind you, is for each service, not for every day that he does. For each service that he holds, he has to pay $500 fine.
Now, is this constitutional, really?
And technically, this is new territory as far as the Constitution is concerned. Now, I have heard certain reports that certain states, under a states' right issue, can use a public health order to close churches down, and the churches can't legally fight it. But at the same time, we have seen the U.S. Supreme Court make the ruling in regards to the state of Nevada, and they have taken the government's side on this and not the churches. Now, mind you, if this becomes bad enough that multiple pastors decide to come together and decide to sue the state of California and take it up to the California Supreme Court, we may see that happen. I'm not seeing that yet. We do have multiple churches here in California on the fence thinking, okay, should we open up, should we not open up? And so, again, it goes back to this debate of Scripture. And mind you, I'm no pastor, I'm no theologian, but the constant debate is Romans 13 and whether pastors and churches should be following their government authorities' actions on this. Now, I can speak for Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. The local government, the mayor of Chino and Chino Hills are backing Pastor Hibbs here in Chino.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Hills here, Ken, the economy is doing great because all the people are coming in from out of town because churches, whether we realize it or not, contribute to the local economy. So a lot of churches have closed here in the state and local economies have been affected. Restaurants have shut down. Local places where people will go after church on Sunday have shut down. Not so much here. We've had a couple businesses who have lost, but there's other businesses who say, we're doing great because your church is open and you're holding multiple events throughout the week.
Yeah.
And I'm a believer in the Lord.
From Chino Hills, Jason Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Jason, got to ask you here. Listen, there are people around the country who are concerned about some of the things that they're hearing in California, IA, with the gig economy.
Yes.
And the state order that was done so that Uber and Lyft could remain in California. How good is that stay order? How long is it? Is there still a threat for Uber and Lyft to leave California?
Yes, there is. Actually, Lyft has already said that they're thinking about suspending operations ahead of this 2-week order that is supposed the extension, so to speak, that is going into effect. And it does not appear that Loretta Gonzalez, who passed AB 5, is going to be backing down anytime soon. She basically called these two companies a bunch of whiners yesterday on her Twitter account and said, "Stop your damn whining and hire all your gig workers as permanent employees. We're not backing down."
Well, are they aware that we're in a recession?
Yeah, they are, and it doesn't seem like the California legislature seems to care. There is a proposition on the ballot because there is a few things left in this state of California that if the citizens of California disagree on something, they can take it and make it a ballot measure in the November election. And there is such a ballot measure on the ballot this year called Prop 22. So it's up to the people of California to vote. And mind you, Ken, this doesn't only affect gig workers. This also affects tutors. There's kids in this distance learning system for parents who want to hire tutors. Well, Loretta Gonzalez came out and said, okay, you become a tutor, you're in violation of AB 5, and guess what? We're not going to go after you. We're going to go after the parents, and we're going to fine them if they don't become an S corporation to hire these tutors on.
Wow.
And so the person who is fighting this fight in the state happens to be former San Diego City Councilman Carl DeMaio, and he gave a direct challenge last week to Loretta Gonzalez, asking her, are you saying that our kids aren't important? Are you saying our tutors aren't important, and you're willing to throw them at the wayside? And again, it's just not tutors. It's just not Lyft and Uber. There's multiple people across this state who own their own businesses or just want to work their own scheduled hours in the state of California is preventing that.
Got to ask you here, finally, is there any hope that the emergency stay of Governor Newsom as the dictator-in-chief of California will end? What is the approximate expectation of the COVID-19 issue ending in California?
I say it's slim.
Wow.
Senator Melendez, a Republican from Riverside, tried to put in a Senate resolution, SCR 93, last week, and the Senate will not let it leave committee. They are using procedures to hold it back. She says as long as the Senate is still in session, she has means of trying to put it onto the floor every day. And then there is breaking news today from my sources here at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. I was told just moments before the broadcast that SB 2218 has now advanced from the Senate Health Committee to the Senate. This would allow taxpayers in the state of California to fund hormonal treatments for kids as young as 8 years old who want to become girls who want to become boys and boys who want to become girls. So if this passes the Senate and goes over to Governor Newsom's desk, we the taxpayers here in California will now be paying for sex change operations.
All right, and final question for you, because we know that businesses are leaving Chicago more quickly than antelope run on the Serengeti Plains. People are leaving New York as if there was a bridge going directly to Miami. Are people beginning to decide that California is just not the Marxist place I want to live?
There's two sides to that. If you talk to Pastor Hibbs says, you know what, don't leave California. We have a chance of changing it. He believes there's a revival in place in that California, the citizens in California, especially people who are Democrats, they said, oh, this is not what we foresaw of our socialist utopia. This is not what I saw. So he thinks there may be a miracle in the election and it's a possibility to flip the state. On the other side of things, Ken, there is another bill in the Senate that has been put over in the Assembly that if it makes the Senate, which would cause people who are leaving the state of California to have to pay a leave tax, basically a wealth tax.
A leave tax. Oh my God!
Yeah. So basically, this bill was for Elon Musk of Tesla, who decided to move out of California because of Newsom's politics and decide to move to Texas, and he's basically telling people like Elon Musk, okay, buddy, you leave, guess what? You're going to have to pay to leave. You're going to have to pay the exit tax. And so basically, any person who's wealthy and is losing business and they want to leave the state, well, you better think twice about doing that, because or you better leave before it's passed, because if it is passed, then the wealthy are going to be paying taxes for leaving the state of California. So even leaving California now is not an option.
It sounds like there is a need for spiritual revival, and we would hope that California gets that. But political revival looks like it's at least 10 to 15 years off put, per se. You're going to have to see the literal destruction of California as a state than to actually see it as a successful recovery. I don't see the transition from left to right in California is what I'm trying to say. Am I correct in that regard?
You're not only correct on that, I think you're correct on the entire West Coast. I was talking to my former colleague of the Evan Miller Report, Corey Evan, last week, and actually the state of Oregon is in the worst state than California. They're back in a level 1 shutdown, and Governor Kate Brown of that state now has a mandatory curfew for all citizens in that state. They all have to be in their houses by 10 p.m. And all businesses have to shut down by 10 p.m., basically.
Wow. A mandatory wow. That's simply amazing.
Who would have thought, Ken, that the entire West Coast is looking like a Middle Eastern country? We talk about curfews, we talk about shutdowns. This is kind of stuff that happens over in Hong Kong. This is type of stuff that happens over in Iran. Now we're having this on our doorstep as we speak. And this was covered in tonight's conference, saying, this is pre-tribulation times. I go back to this because we see the world falling apart at our feet here. And the politicians there, they're living it up. They get to stay at home, drink their lattes, and say, oh, guess what? This is what I can do to screw the American public today. And you think the people in Washington, D.C. care. I don't think they really do.
Yeah.
Or I really don't think they do. And as I said, there is multiple candidates who are running here in the state of California hoping that they can flip it. Now, I'm somewhat I'm not on either side on how to think this is going to happen. If mostly, I think it's the Midwest who's going to speak this election.
Yeah.
I've seen some internal polling out of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, as you mentioned, and they say the Republican Party is actually signing more people up to vote than the Democrats. And the reason why is people who are strong gun-ho Democrats back in the day are now switching parties and going over and voting Republicans because they thought the Democratic Party in the democratically run states or local areas, such as Washington, D.C., I'm using you guys as an example because of what Mayor Bowser has done with Black Lives Matter and all the local policies as far as crime is concerned. They've looked at that and they say, the citizens are saying, okay, this is not what I foresaw. This is not what I foresaw. And they're having second thoughts, and they're looking at it and saying, okay, it's time for a change.
Exactly.
Whether that it is timely enough that they're making that change remains to be seen in November. But from what I hear, I'm part of a couple of Facebook groups called the Walkaway Movement, and I see at least 10, 15 people a day popping up on this walkaway movement who are saying, I was the worst Democrat out there. You can say pro-abortion, pro-this, pro-that. You tell me, you talked to me 2 or 3 years ago, and now I'm looking at it, it's like, wow, this is not the party I joined.
Exactly.
This is not what I want to become part of. Where's the exit gate? Where's the parachute that I can jump off the plane?
Joe Biden basically said last night in his 22-minute speech that could have been delivered by anybody, including Baskin-Robbins CEO, basically that he will ally with the light and not with darkness. I got to ask you here, with the sullen presentation of the DNC, is there fear right now that California could flip red?
Ooh, wow! You're asking me to put a prediction on this thing. If you let me put it this way, if you talk to Pastor Jack Hibbs, he would say there is something to work here in California, and that people are now motivated. They're ticked off, righteously so. They're ticked off, but at the same time, they now want to register to vote. People who have never voted in their lives are now registering to vote. They want to go out and vote. The problem being is, we touched upon this last week, with the voting centers being consolidated and the vote by mail happening, and the state government here in California opening the voting places 4 days early. I don't know how that's going to work. Now, I know for this church, I've stated this before, that they're telling you, bring your ballot here to the church. We will drop it off over at the register of voters, so we make sure that it gets counted for you.
You know, just want to interject right here that Postmaster General DeJoy was on Senate panel this particular day. He'll be going to the House on Monday to discuss the distribution and transportation of those particular mail-in ballots to make certain that they are delivered in an appropriate fashion. He basically stated that they have more than enough money to do right now. So should churches, especially conservative churches, be encouraging across the country where mail-in ballots are becoming the end thing, the new niche? It used to be illegal aliens voting. Now they've gone to mail-in ballots. Should they be collecting those particular ballots and turning them in for the elections?
I believe so. If you're coming from the standpoint here, there has been this past primary election, there was rumors that voting systems weren't working correctly, and this gave them the excuse to move to vote by mail. And then back in back in the midterm elections, there was rumors of people going to mailboxes and literally stealing people's ballots out of the mailbox and going to vote for them. So now that's all been eliminated because we've had people like Linda Payne from the Election Integrity Project telling the government you need to clean the voter rolls, that now the state government has said, okay, we'll clean the voter rolls, but now people aren't going to be able to show up to vote anymore. We want everyone to vote by mail now. And so basically voting by mail means that it's a possibility that people may not even get their ballots on time and not even get to vote at all.
Now, there have been judges that have made the inclination that they would be allowing mail-in ballots to be counted if received 7 days after the election. Is that a possibility in California?
Oh, very much so. They said as much. I've heard one reporter here in California state they could be counting ballots 2 weeks after the election is over. Under California law. And the interesting thing is now you can register to vote online, at least in California. I don't know the rest of the country.
Oh, my God!
Vote online, no joke. Or, this is even better, Ken, you can register to vote on the same day as the election. Now, how does that work? How do you get the person's information in the system on the same day, and then you even have trouble getting paper ballots, mail-in ballots mailed out to people on time? I don't know how that works, but hey, welcome to California, the home of the cray-crays over here.
There you go.
We're living it here in California, that's for sure. And again, right when we don't think it gets any crazier, there's now a crazy liberal senator here in California that wants to make it legal for sex offenders to get out of prison, saying that those poor people we're judging them too much, and if this bill passes, then all the sex offenders here in the state of California get released out of prison. So, guess what? People may want to stay in California, but all I will say is, and I normally don't come around promoting Second Amendment, I'd have that pistol next to your bed, ladies and gentlemen, if I were you, because they break in the house and go after your kids. It's better to have them dead than to lose your kid.
There you go.
Service announcement, the shortest one in history. I've done PSAs in the past. That's the shortest 10-second PSA I've done in my entire radio television career as a journalist.
Well, probably the most effectual as well. Jason, it's probably the most effectual one as well. Jason, thank you so much for being with us tonight. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the worship experience that you're at. And we look forward to working with you again.
Yeah, look forward to it, Ken, and good luck with you, once again, with Mayor Bowser.
And you likewise with Newsom. God bless you, sir.
Know.
All right, sir.
Good luck, buddy. Good luck.
Good luck. God bless.
See you later. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was none other than Jason Miller reporting live from California, IA, at the Jack Hibbs Church. Listen, I got to take a quick break here. I know that you do too, and I know for a fact that some of you all heard that if they're going to release all of the sex offenders from California onto the streets, that it might be a good thing to protect your family and your property. You can do that with a Brownells gift card. You can just go to TECN TV sponsor page or to TECN TV's movie page. You can scroll down and get a gift card for the one that you love. It is far better to protect them and your property than to have never had the opportunity at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk. I'm your host, the exceptional one, Ken McClinton. We got a big movie coming up right after this, and I'll be telling you all about it when we come back.